Here we go. I know it's a little late in the day, but I've just had a very, very, very busy morning getting everything set up for just a lot of cool things going. Give me a second and I will jump over so I can come chat with you guys and hang out. There goes view on LinkedIn. So move this over here. Bada bing, bada boom. So very cool, man. It's been a hell of a week. A lot of awesome things going on, and I'm having a blast. Getting to do some of the things that I get to do. I literally I finally caught you live. Hey, Wally, what is up, my friend? Glad to see you here. Guys, if you want to see one of the top podcasters in the world, he just popped in. Wally Carmichael with the Men of Abundance podcast. Killer show, man. You should totally tune into his stuff. Phenomenal, phenomenal, phenomenal freaking podcast. But today I just got done interviewing for a huge podcast out of the UK called The Open Mic with Mike Midgley. That was a lot of fun. Great setup. They have a phenomenal team over there, and it was killer, man. He has some really solid questions, and we talked a lot about the things that businesses are doing to keep them from scaling up and going bigger. It was a lot of fun having that conversation. Got to work a little bit on the business, doing some of the operational things that I need to get cleared out before an extremely busy afternoon. At 1 o'clock, I go live in the Becoming a Champion webinar where I'll be talking about, why you need to focus on a business vision. What are the business development activities you absolutely need to be doing as a business owner? And then we'll talk about specifically, what's the number one thing that's holding people back from growing their businesses. So that'll be fun at 1 o'clock. And then I'm interviewing Scott Carson, podcast host from the Note Closer Show. He will be enlightening us all about everything he does in the real estate realm. And the guy's doing a massive amount of business, has a huge show, over 500 episodes on his podcast. So really looking forward to that conversation. And then, we'll round out the day with the Champions Happy Hour, which I do every Friday in our Facebook group, where I sit down usually with a glass of Captain Morgan and, rant about different things in business development. A lot of times, things you can do in your business, and hang out with the other champions in our private Facebook group called Success Champions. So it's a really, really, really killer day for me on Fridays. It's usually action packed with a lot of stuff. Always great to hear you, friend. Keep up the great work. Well, hello, Miss Nancy. Guys, if you want to talk about the number one customer service phenom in the world, you have the telephone doctor herself, Miss Nancy Freeman, joining us in here. That's so awesome. And she was a guest on my podcast, phenomenal guest with a great story. So if you're looking for customer service stuff in your business or company, man, let me tell you, you cannot go wrong with the telephone doctor. She is amazing, has an awesome story. With an acting career and everything she's done, phenomenal lady. So make sure you check her out. But I want to talk about, getting in the game, man. It's been a wild ride. I've gone almost 2 weeks now, every morning live here on LinkedIn. I'm usually typically live between 8 and 8:30. Tuesdays, I bring in a guest on the show, and we talk about their life, their story, their business, and try and bring you as much business knowledge and information as we possibly can to help you get your business to where it needs to go. And we've had some really, really, really in-depth conversations. We talked to Lonnie about, finding joy and happiness in your business. You're welcome, Nancy. You are awesome. I brought in Tony Watley. We talked a lot about building $1 million mindset alongside your business. Phenomenal conversation. I brought in Frank. What's up, brother? Semper Fi, my friend. I brought in Laura DeFranco. We talked about, the new podcast we launched called Your High Vibe Business. And dude, I'm so stoked about that one. It's already hit the top 200 charts. We hit 147 in the self-improvement field for podcast. So if you're looking for a new killer podcast, self-promotion from me, go check out your High Vibe Business Podcast with myself and Laura DeFranco. And next week's guest, I'm going to keep it a surprise, but it's going to be another killer episode, a lot of fun. So that'll be Tuesday morning, 8 o'clock Central Time. We'll be going live there in here. But, getting in the game, what I found is when I launched my business, I really thought that I was a hard worker. I really thought that I put in a lot of time and effort in the sales game. And if anybody would ask me, I would have told you that I outworked almost anybody. It wasn't until I launched my business and lazy is not the right word, but how much I actually wasn't working as a professional in business. It was literally a eye-opening moment when I realized that running a business was going to require a different way and thought process to not only getting in the game, but how I thought about time and how I thought about work, not so much work ethic, but what I did in those hours and all the things that I was doing to scale and grow my business. Because, as an employee and with that employee mindset that I struggled with you're always doing what somebody else wants you to do. You're always doing what somebody else needs you to do. And it's a unique adventure when you have nobody else over your shoulder saying, hey, do this, accomplish this. It is always a fun and amazing way to flip the script and your mindset. And, I've had a couple people ask me, why do I call out people who comment and everything on the show? And I've met some amazing and awesome people. And I love giving props where props due, and that's why I love it when people tell me hi and they come on the show. I want to acknowledge you because if we've had a relationship, I want people to see your awesomeness out there and what you've done. That's why I try and tell people, if you come in here and you see me live, please say hello. And I will absolutely say hello back. And that's just my way to give back to the community of people that have supported me on my adventures and what I do. I mean, they'll take Frank Gustafson there. Frank and I met over a cup of coffee. Frank was so gracious. He put my name in to speak at the Dallas Podcast Forum, went out there and spoke. Frank came out there. He watched me speak, so you never know what happens when you have these connections. So if you guys are watching and you haven't said hello, please do, because I love supporting you guys and everything that you freaking do. It gives me a high to be able to bring your name up and support you. You've always thanks, Ken. I loved your message the other day. I'm trying to take care of it, man. My cough is getting better. I really appreciate it, brother. I'm getting back in the groove of things. I'm still not 100%, but we're getting there. So I appreciate you, Kenneth. He was so gracious to send me a message through LinkedIn saying, make sure I take care of myself. And I've gotten a lot of those because those who've been following along know that I've been battling this cough and cold this whole week. And, I had a keynote down in San Antonio and I powered through that. But I've been making sure to get a lot of coffee and teas and green teas and herbal mixes and getting a lot of rest. I slept great last night, which was tremendous. I really, really, really needed it. So, but yeah, dude, seriously, if you ever come see me live, and it's fun for me to acknowledge you guys. So thank you for always saying hi and howdy and hello. But as I continue to progress and run my business, what I've found is there's days that I really get in the game, and then there's days that I kind of pull back. And thanks, brother. I appreciate that, Kenneth. And don't do what I do, but I can tell you, as a sales guy, I thought I was doing a lot of the right things. I was doing all the networking, the cold calling. I was a part of the boards. I sat on private and nonprofit boards. I did the right scenes, the right locations. And I really thought that was all the things I needed to be doing to grow my sales business. And it worked really, really, really well because I got to open a lot of doors and interact and meet a lot of people. But as I've opened my business, what I've found is it's not just that kind of scene and doing that stuff, but I've had to get in the game from a social media perspective and really work towards getting my brand and my message out there so I can connect with more people. So when I say get in the game, I'm talking about doing the things that will get you seen, getting eyeballs on you, and getting you more exposure for your brand, your business, your message, everything out there. And there's so many easy ways to do it. I was on that interview in the UK that I was talking to today. One of the things we talked about is if you're not going live, on your platforms, you're missing out on a hell of an opportunity to connect with people that are a prime fit for your business. Because in the words of somebody like Gary Vee, there's so much noise going on in social media, and LinkedIn one being one of the fastest growing platforms. There's a lot of people who are trying to get seen, get their brand seen. And the two hottest things moving on LinkedIn right now are videos and lives. And if you're not putting out content out there, you're missing out on a great opportunity to get a ton of exposure for your business. And I get people push back on me. They're like, I don't know what to say. I'm nervous or whatever. And my thought is, all you're doing is documenting your story, telling them what's going on, what's going on in your lives. I mean, you guys heard as I started this whole thing, I just told you what I did for my day. And I still have a message that I want to get out about getting in the game, but you're just taking people along for the ride. You're not trying to be some guru or something and totally teach something. You're just sharing the insights and knowledge of where you've been, what you've done, telling people how they can hang out with you along your journey. And remember, guys, people want to buy from people that are like them. They want to feel like they can connect. It comes down to, do they ultimately trust that person enough to make a buying decision? And when you're showing up every day and people are choosing to consume the messages and the things you're putting out there, you build this great bond. That's why I love podcasting so much, because studies show that the greatest place people consume podcasts or while they're doing something else, like a hobby or something. It's not necessarily just commuting. So what I take into account is, when I'm on my farm and I'm mowing the farm, I'm listening to podcasts. It just means when I'm doing a hobby, something fun of mine, I'm choosing to consume somebody else's content. It's like right now, living live on LinkedIn, you guys have taken a 2-second pause out of your day to consume whatever I'm putting out. This message is out there, and it gets you guys a little bit more connected with me. I mean, every morning I have people that pop in here and say howdy and hello. And, I really feel like, Kenneth and I have really connected from his really nice, genuine messages, hearing a little bit about his story. It's those type of things that help your brand get out there further. And it's not about creating content. It's about documenting the journey. It's about telling what's going on in your world so people can go, huh, man, that person is just like me. So you need to get in the game. You should really look at getting into podcasts, um, uh, mainly for the fact that it's a very low hanging. There are expenses to it, but it's a low hanging thing to be able to get your message out there in business. You should be doing videos on the platforms that are consuming, videos. LinkedIn is going massive right now. TikTok, which blows me away, is going nuts right now with the number of people that are on there. But you need to be going big and loud with your message so that you can connect with your audience. It's a great way. Guys, it's not like, the first time I went live, I think, I don't know, 5 or 6 people tuned into the show, and it's progressively grown, every time I've gone live. And I've connected with, like Tony Coronado usually tunes in when he's free, and that guy has shared every one of my lives. He's commented on every one of my lives. You know how awesome that feels to know that somebody's genuinely into your message? And it's those little things that, if you constantly just keep putting your message out there and take them along for the journey, they're going to buy into what you do. And when you're documenting, you don't have to worry about remembering what you said, because you're just telling them what's going on in your life. And if you can teach along those lines, all the more better, because it allows you to express, what you're doing on a regular basis. So think about your business and how can you get in the game? How can you get more exposure? How can you leverage these platforms to get the conversations going that you need to have going in your business so that you can grow and scale? Imagine if you started a video show strictly for LinkedIn, and the focus of that video was having conversations with your top prospects in your business. And you simply reach out and say, hey, I'm launching a LinkedIn show. It's all going to be talking about our industry, heavily focused on what's going on, what they see coming in the future, and the other things that are happening in the industry. And I'd love to interview you as one of my guests on that show. Would you be interested? And the interesting thing is, you got to think about, guys, when you create a platform that others can come play on, you are creating an atmosphere where you now have something they need, which is something we all need in this day and age, with exposure. And think about it, if you reach out to that person and say, hey, I'm not trying, sell you anything. I'm literally just like to interview and hear your story. You now get an intimate conversation with that individual for the next 30, 45, maybe an hour's worth of time to connect and dive into their message and world. And you start forming this trusting bond. I've done this for years now in podcasting, and that's how one of the ways I grew a lot of my business through networking with the podcast, because I had something they needed, which was exposure. So I would reach out with the podcast, say, hey, I'd love to interview you on the show. And it was amazing how many doors that opened and conversations that opened for me. So when you think about getting in the game, what is that platform you can dominate on? And if you guys, and I promise you, if you look at your thread right now on LinkedIn, you're going to scroll for not very long before a video pops up. And the reason being is because so many videos are getting pushed to the top of LinkedIn right now. I don't know how to game and beat an algorithm. That's not my game. That's not my story. But I just go by what I see and kind of the trends. And that's the mechanism at the moment that's really getting things, some traction in here. So leverage that platform to the best of your ability so you can do things that allow you to scale up and grow your business. And, I would just think, no matter what business I'm in, whether I'm in a manufacturing, pharmaceutical, I'm in a speaking business, well, if speaking was something I was really focused on, I would 100% start a LinkedIn video show that started asking the big conference, bookers, the people that bring in the speakers. I would start a show interviewing each and every one of them on how, people should go about getting booked for their events and everything else and going through that process, because a lot of people who are trying to break into that industry would be tuning in. I mean, and it gives me a chance to network one-on-one with all those people that are booking these big conferences and create a relationship. And here's kind of a secret, guys. And a lot of those things, friends get pushed to the top. And so when you're connecting with these people and building relationships, helping them get exposures, when it comes time down to the selection process, friends always get pushed to the top, or the friend always gets that last phone call. Let's say it's a big bid situation. You got a multi-million-dollar contract on the table, and your contract came in $100,000 over the next. Instead of just giving it to the person who came in, less expensive of you, if you've built the right relationship, you get the phone call that says, hey, Donnie, I'm looking at all this stuff, and, comparing apples to apples, you're $100,000 over. What can we do? And now you get a chance to leverage or resell that deal to make sure it happens. And doing this stuff by getting in the game from videos, podcasts, YouTube, whatever else, Facebook, gives you that opportunity to leverage a platform and connect and meet all these people and completely, level up your game and really, really get after it. So wanted to give you guys just one last quick heads up. At 1 p.m. Central, I'm putting a link in the chat box. I'm doing a webinar called Becoming a Champion. Join us on Zoom. We'll be talking very specifically about why you need to have a vision in your business, understanding the vision of your company, how your business development activities are actually hurting your sales process, And then finally, the number one thing that business owners are doing to keep them from the success they dreamed about in your business. So if you're looking to level up your business, hang out with a bunch of other phenomenal business owners that are really getting after it and growing their businesses and scaling. Come hang out with us in that webinar. I'm going to jump out of here, give my voice a rest before I get geared up for that. But you guys keep rocking and rolling. Thank you so much for the support and love. I really enjoy that you guys continue to dive in here and support me with this. Thank you. I'll be here tomorrow morning around 8:30. Depends how quick I can get off the farm and take care of the animals. And I'll be here every morning with you guys to help you get your days started. Appreciate you guys. Love you very much. And keep being rock stars that you are. Take it easy.